fired around 620 drones and missiles at its territory overnight, so far killing 4 people. The Ukrainian Air Force said it has downed 319 Shahid Iranian-made drones and 25 missiles, adding that 1 missile and about 20 drones hit 5 locations. Following this, Ukraine has called for fresh sanctions on Moscow to halt its record barrages. Kyiv and Moscow have stepped up aerial strikes over recent months, and the US-led ceasefire talks aimed at pausing the over 3-year war have stalled. Meanwhile, US Special Envoy Keith Kellogg is due on Monday to begin his latest visit to Ukraine as a Washington-led peace effort stalls. Well, thank you, Major General Sudhakar G, for staying with us. The second largest assault on Ukraine by Russia, according to Kyiv, seeing deaths targeting areas not just in the east, of course, where fighting is ongoing, and not just the capital that has seen heightened strikes, but also in the west, close to Europe, and has seen scrambled jets from Poland. Is this a signal at a clear intensification of not just strikes, but of tensions that could, if not checked and if not worked towards with a ceasefire, could spill out and potentially reach other European countries as well?
Absolutely. I tend to agree with the narrative you have given the preamble to this question. I personally feel my take on the whole issue is that the problem of Russia-Ukraine war has to be understood with utmost sincerity. Only then a lasting solution can be found. Those who ignore what happened on 9th February 1990, when James Baker came all the way to Moscow to have one-on-one meeting with Mikhail Gorbachev, and the assurance which was given to Mikhail Gorbachev with regard to unification of East with the West Germany, that is the collapse of the Berlin Wall was being discussed, and with the concern of Mikhail Gorbachev that NATO threat will continue to spread and expand. And to that particular apprehension and the concern of Mikhail Gorbachev, James Baker went on record to say that not an inch of the sphere of influence of NATO would take place to the east of where it is today. That is not only east of Germany, but the entire European frontier. So that is the kind of commitment given. So with that backdrop, at that point in time, if there was 16 members, the founding members being 12 of them in NATO, and with the disintegration of USSR, if the number of NATO countries have expanded, as on today, they're touching a figure of 32, well, you can well understand the basic factor of trust is taking the beating. If that be the kind of a case, then I'm afraid, and with the flip-flop decisions being taken by the Western alliances, especially USA, at times he says that they will be hold back to the supply of weapons and warlike stores to Ukraine. At times he says they will be supplied, the supply will be resumed, as has happened about a day before. So therefore, under these circumstances, with the increased rate of expenditure of the percentage of GDP of all the European countries, the NATO countries, including UK, to reach a figure of 5% by 2035, and an unhindered supply of heavy weaponry and warlike stores to Ukraine, and with a kind of a spider web operation which was conducted by none other than Ukrainian forces 4,500 kilometers deep inside Russia, and striking off almost about 40 or more strategic bombers. So these are the kinds of criticalities which are being imposed against Putin. For Putin, loss or surrendering this particular conflict in favor of Ukraine or Western alliances is a prohibitive cost which he cannot permit himself as the president of Russia, and therefore he will do anything and everything to continue the conflict so as to have the upper edge and on the over the escalatory matrix, so that he can actually control as much as possible. The war has to end in his terms, and only then there will be lasting peace. I'm not saying that the existing land which has been captured or occupied by Russia will be held by Russia be it the Crimea or Georgia or along the Donbass and Luhansk area. I'm saying that that's for something to begin with a ceasefire. There has to be a trust restored between the Western alliances and Russia. The war has to end as is where is, and only then the ceasefire has to begin. Some peace talk has to start. For that, I'm given to understand from the open sources that very, very clandestine and discreet activities are taking place behind the scene. A lot of talks are taking place. The US senior representatives, they are already in dialogue, directly or indirectly, to bring this mindless conflict to an end. If it doesn't, then Russia, in my opinion, will carry on, because the defense industry production capability of Russia is 4 to 5 times more than that of the entire Western alliance put together. Take your mind back to Second World War. It has gone beyond that capacity of production of weapon equipments, and also being supported by North Korea and China with the double
Yes,
use.
Major General Sudhakar, I apologise to cut you off, but we are unfortunately out of time. But thank you ever so much for joining.